Alrighty, here we go with another Create This Book episode. If you didn't notice, I didn't post a video last week because I was really behind and I needed to push out this video, so here we are. And the first prompt of today's episode is create art with wax. Decorate this page only using wax, candle wax, crayons, etc. Push that out of the way and bring in these crayons. Crayons. If you don't remember where these came from a previous Create This Book episode, and I'm going to be using them again with this blow dryer here. Basically, I'm going to melt the crayons on this extra piece of paper that I'm going to eventually glue into the book. And I set this up very strangely with the paper leaning up against the book. I don't know. Do you think this is working? And here we go with attempt number 2. Let's try this again. We don't talk about what just happened. But anyway, I continued melting the wax onto this paper, and once I was done with the red, maybe I shouldn't have started with red. I took the extra pieces of the crayon that hadn't fully dried yet, and I just pressed them on the paper, remelted them so then they could create more funky things. I don't know. I was trying to have fun. I've also seen this hack with wax and a quarter, is you press the quarter in, it's supposed to give the imprint of the design, but it didn't work very well. So I moved on to complete adding the melted colors of the rainbow onto this page. After I finished completing my wax disaster, I wanted to add some extra, kind of graffiti details, and I started with this wimpy little Sharpie, and then I had to bring out the big boys because that Sharpie was not working very well. So I just went in and added random doodles everywhere because, I don't know, I felt like the page needed something more, and I also needed an excuse to add a star onto the page, so this is how it ended up going. Gotta make sure to sign it, and then I bring the book back in, try and find the page again, and proceed to start gluing in the new wax page. I cut off the excess edges, and here is the completed page. At first, as I was doing this, I didn't quite like the direction that it was going in, but once I had added the graffiti things and kind of made it more my own, my love for it grew. And a background change, and moving on to the next page, which says create smudges. Coat your fingers with ink, paint, or charcoal. Smear the color across the page. So I brought in the charcoal, smeared the charcoal, brought in some of my oil pastels, and I smeared the oil pastel. And I even brought in some of my gouache. Made some ink blotches, and then just continued the chaos. Now, I wanted to take a little fun spin on this page, and there is a person on Instagram whose name is Feefall and does a thing every February called Funguary, and it's mushrooms. Basically, they give you prompt mushrooms, and then you create something based off those mushrooms. So that is exactly what I did, except with these smudges. Out of these random smudges that I created with different mediums, I saw one of the mushrooms, and I just drew the mushroom. This first one that I did is called a bleeding fairy helmet. It looks like a regular mushroom that's pink, except it looks like it's bleeding. I made this first initial shroom and then created another one with another red smudge on the other side of the page. Next up was the Amanita Galaxis or something like that. I don't know, some of these have strange names and this is one of them. Next up is one that looks like an octopus and nothing like a fungi. It's called the Slethris Archer or something of that sort. Next up is a pretty normal name fungus. It's called cobalt crust fungus, and the reason why it's called cobalt crust is because the edges are cobalt. Isn't that just so creative? Next up, I made this smudged heart into a witch's hat mushroom. And at this point, I realized that I should probably write the names of all these mushrooms right next to them, and it actually came in very handy because I'm currently looking at my Create This book as I'm telling you what each of these are. And this one is called a hairy mycena, and my Posca pen is struggling. This next one, this very nice blue one, is called a cornflower boulette. It sounds like a dish at a fancy restaurant, although I wouldn't suggest eating a blue shroom. And for this one, I failed to write the name of the mushroom down, so that's nice. Anyway, moving on to this very large green one, which I will figure out what it is and I'll put it on the screen because I am too lazy to go grab my phone or search up on Instagram and figure out what this mushroom is. Just enjoy me making it, I guess. And go follow Feefall on Instagram. Her content is great. What are you doing? He did this stereotypical brother thing where he walked into the room, he turned my phone on the home screen, he put my water bottle on the ground, walked out, and turned the light off. Anyway, I had an extra space for another mushroom, and this one is called an earth star. And I'm making this go along with my rule of adding a star to every page because technically this is an earth star, and I did write the name, so there is a star on the page. And now it's time to glue this bad boy in. And here is the completed page. I'm super happy with how this turned out and that I was able to use Funguary from Feefall as a part of this video because I don't have time to do like the monthly challenges and I wish I did, but I was glad I was able to implement this into this page. Moving on to the next page, which is Create Color Dispute. Draw a picture using all the wrong colors. Example, purple grass, a pink tree. And for some reason, I really wanted to paint fruit, so I asked some of my friends to give me random colors and random fruits, and the first one was a purple strawberry. So I started painting a purple strawberry with my gouache. If you are unfamiliar with the term gouache, it's basically just watercolor acrylic paint. That's the best way to describe it. It's a different kind of medium, and I actually really enjoy using gouache. I used it in my last Create This Book episode, and I went into much more talking about how much I liked gouache. And this next fruit is thanks to my boyfriend who told me to paint a blue grapefruit. And I'm honestly not totally sure if it looks like a grapefruit or an orange, but I think it looks like a grapefruit. I don't know. Next up was a pink avocado, and since none of my friends were answering my text messages when I asked for a certain color, I just chose one from a random website generator thing, and so I painted a pink avocado. This next one is also thanks to my boyfriend, who told me to paint a teal and white watermelon. I wanted to paint a watermelon, I just asked for 2 colors, and these were the ones he gave me, and honestly, a teal and white watermelon doesn't look or sound too bad. Kind of at a loss as to how to put these fruits on the page, so I just painted the background black so then the fruits would stand out from it, because no other color would have worked and I didn't want to keep the page white. And here we go, cutting out my dispute fruits and trying to arrange them onto the page. I had only made 4 fruits because I had run out of time to make more, so it was kind of awkward to arrange these onto the page because there's only 4 of them and there's still so much space, but I glued them in once I figured out where I wanted them to go. There was still a lot of empty space, so I just brought in some stickers and filled the space with those. And here is the completed page. It's a bit on the more simpler side of things, and I'm not totally sure if I'm happy with it. Something's off, but I still like it. I like my weird colored fruits. But unfortunately, that is all we have time for today. I hope you enjoyed this Create This Book episode, and I also hope that you have a fantabulous rest of your day. Bye!